have some facts that I wanted to run out to you guys today. Okay, the observable universe is 93 billion light years across, or more than 2 trillion galaxies, and each one of those contains billions of stars. And all of that, that's this. You're here in this room today. Out of the countless planets that exist, Earth is the only one that we know of that has life that's flourishing. Out of all the odds of being born, you being you, statistics show that about 1 in 400 trillion, you were not here by accident. And then let's zoom in a little bit closer here. Every day, your heart beats 100,000 times, pumping life through your bodies. Right now, inside of each and every one of you, your cells are doing things to keep your body alive, and you're not even thinking about it. And finally, zooming in even closer, our state has over 11 million people in it. And among them are about roughly, based off the statistics I can see, about 5,000 Rotarians currently active in the state of North Carolina, which means that 1 in every 2,000 people have decided to be a Rotarian in North Carolina, which means that you being in this room today truly matters. So I want to say thank you to each and every one of you for answering the call of living a life of service above self, because it truly does matter that you're here in this room. So thank you. Now, thank you. Thank you, Jim. For everybody who is, as a quick reminder, please make sure that you scanned your QR code to get your free parking if you did park in the parking garage. We have a little alert that says that it will no longer be forgiven. We have wonderful stewards here at Tobacco Road, but they have no control over the parking garage, so we want to make sure each one of you do not get a beautiful little invoice in the mail. Moving on, we're going to have the invitation to pledge with John Cates. John, please take it away.
Thank you, President Harris. Let's pause for a moment of reflection and gratitude. Service of self. Thank you for the gift of fellowship that brings us together, for the goodwill that strengthens our community, for the friendships that grow out of our time together. Grant us open hearts to welcome new ideas, open hands to extend where it is needed, and open minds to see the best in one another. May our conversations today build bridges of understanding. May our actions reflect kindness and respect. May this work, our club, and the meal we share, may it be blessed, and may all we do continue to nurture goodwill, lasting friendship, and service to others. Amen.
Amen.
Please stand for the
That's right. I wanted to say also hello to everybody on Zoom. Jennifer got us these wonderful little mics that I mentioned the other week. I'm trying my best to remember to mute it before I sing, so you guys don't just automatically turn off Zoom, because that would be probably what would happen. Let's move on to introducing our guests with Leslie Oliver. Leslie, please take it away.
Thank you so much, President Harris. So first off, know you, but I do. Okay. You're next. Dr. Gabriel.
Dr. Gabriel, my second visit, invited me. I just looked to make relationships and connect with people who'd like to build health and wellness initiatives in the community. That's what I'm trying to do.
From the index club, I'm not here to support my best friend. But yes, I'm a for my new brother.
Friendship.
That's right.
How are you going?
The parade governs second. As you would, Katie Hills, property law, for a tour contract here in Raleigh.
Ray. Ray, yeah. My father's going to be whoever. Okay, awesome. I don't use that.
Well, I think it's over, it's Hello, I'm Corey Coots. I'm a co-founder at Harrison. Nice they invited me out. I've known him quite some years, and our daughter's in ballet class. Very sweet stuff. So happy to come, guys. Excited to come to you as well. Thanks so much.
Hey, everybody, Mike Crabnow. Here I'm I've been in the Raleigh area for about 28 years. And I'm looking forward to working on.
Nice.
You switch, but, here for a minute. You, sir, might be a guest. Oh, awesome.
Hi, I'm John Ryle. Got a business here in Raleigh, John Ryle Group. Bob, why did me? Very gracious enough to invite me. I'm happy to be here.
Awesome. Yeah.
Think that might be everyone. I know Charles Daly has a mustache, so I was very confused, but
That's great.
so glad that everyone's here. Thank
Yes.
you, President Harrison.
No worries. Thank you so much, Leslie. And again, thank you to all our guests for being here. Truly do hope that you find something that you can take away with you, especially with all the good work that we're doing here in our community. We need other individuals who are as excited to get in live service above self for our community. So with that, we have a quick reminder. I think this is the last week we'll do this. We are still looking for people who have iPhones that they can take photos of our meeting. So if you would please, if you have any interest, please reach out to Linda. If you do it, then if you have a missed meeting, it can count as a makeup. But we do need some more photographers for our meetings. And it's just taking pictures of the meetings with your iPhone. Now moving on to my favorite part, Diamante with a membership update. Come on over, brother. Yes, sir.
Thank you, President Harrison. I just want to say for all the fans out there, y'all, I'm the only credit union guy, so don't jump on me, okay? Love you all. We serve our people. With that being said, how are we doing today? Happy Monday, everybody. Nice to be here. With that being said, what we're going to start with, I would like to have Tom, Peter, and Maggie come on up there real quick. So basically what we're going to do is just let you guys know, this is Chief Weaver, Chief Weber, Chief Weber basically has come from the City Port Club out of And, we have Maddie right here for our second reading. Well, she is in a, dealing with a financial institution, financial planning as well too. But basically what we want to do today is, they want to take their while. And, basically we want to start with ladies first, Maddie.
Hi, everybody. It's great to meet you guys. I'm very particular about the things I want to associate myself with. All of us are going to protect it over our time, probably our most valuable resource. And one thing I've always believed in from the bottom of my heart is that my life is not my own. I don't want to live like my life is about me. I have values that are tied to my faith that I want to carry with me in the workplace and beyond that. So I wanted to find some places to plug in Raleigh, and I was trying to find the right spot. And I know Harrison, because we were talking, and I got to know, he mentioned Rotary Club to me. And I'd only heard Rotary Club in passing, and so I would have to do a Google search to look up a little bit about what you guys are all about, and it aligns. And I'm excited about service opportunities, and to be able to take personal value I have of putting others first and loving people, and my life is not mine, and applying that with you guys. So,
That's awesome.
Thank you, Mom Weber, and it started in Rotary, Manchester, Connecticut. Neighbor, I became a fire chief. When the neighbor took me to a meeting, said, you need to meet the community. That's exactly what it takes to give me the opportunity to meet the community in a new place for my family. And when we moved to Florida, back to Florida, became fire chief in Fort Orange, Florida, and again, immediately transferred to Rotary. And I hope to do that again for the third time here in Raleigh, because our daughters moved up here. I have triplet daughters. You'll be hearing and seeing more of them. And two of them are now here. My second daughter, Sarah, just moved here this week. And we got her all settled in. My third daughter is a flight attendant. And she's flying in for dinner.
Oh, nice.
That's
That's great.
My wife Mary and I are major donors, really believe in Rotary. We've been involved in many projects around the world. I actually traveled to Cambodia, and I traveled to Belize, all for Rotary. So, we're truly believers. We've seen what Rotary does internationally, and look forward to transferring it. I got one more thing to the boss.
Oh, there's flag?
We got a flag from my old club, Port Orange, South Daytona.
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you so much. That's right. That's awesome.
Also too, just to let you guys know, we had a service social at the rooftop. If you guys attended, we had a ball. That was a real good time. I had an amazing time. Just the view of everything and the people that came out. So I thank you guys for everybody that has came out. Celebrate with us. Any new members, just want to let you guys know on September 24th, if you are a new member or you did your application process here at the club, please come out at 5:30 at Tobacco here at Tobacco Road. We'd love to have you, and just know the history about the club, and about history of Rotary and history about this club right here. Excuse me. You guys have a great one and enjoy yourselves.
Go Brittany. I was going to say some good things about you, but I'm going to hold that now. No, Diamante is doing a wonderful job at membership. There's an energy in the room, especially with new members coming on. So very excited to have you guys inducted here soon. And Rotary is one of those things where it's great. You can come here for service, but you usually stay because of the friendships you connect in with the room. And that's one of the things that I wanted to bring up here, coffee with Rotarians. One of the things that Gary Green did a really good job of last week or the week before last was highlighting things about people in the room that he didn't even know you, but he was pulling up things from online. And it just was it was a resonating fact with me that I see a lot of you on a weekly basis, but I feel like I don't know the majority of you super, super well. And I think that probably a lot of us in this room could say that. So what we want to do is coffee with Rotarians. What we're going to be doing is sending out a poll, and if you want to participate in this, you can just say yes to the poll. And on a monthly basis, you will be randomly selected or randomly paired with 2 or 3 other Rotarians, and you all have to just find a time in the next month to grab coffee with each other, find out what each other do, what your hobbies are, what your likes and interests are. Hopefully this kind of gives us a little bit more of a connection when we come here on a weekly basis, meeting with each other. So for those introverts, I would challenge you, do coffee with Rotarians, but we're giving you an option with a poll. Moving on, we have a quick service update with Kevin Summers. Kevin, come on up, brother.
Nice high school photo.
Thank you, folks. It's still close by there. Richard's Monterey Mascot Book Project. We are collecting books, so there's still opportunity to participate. There will be throughout the year. This is going to be our initial way of getting some books in libraries in the laundromats so that they can from the customer. This Saturday, 9 o'clock till noon, so well before the Ohio State games. Okay, you can come out and help. Our first service project here in September is at the North Raleigh Ministries, Brentwood and Capitol Boulevard thrift store. So they have two locations. This is Brentwood, and it's on the southeast corner of Brentwood and Capitol Boulevard in shopping. We just need people to come out. I've got 6 signed up so far, at least as of this morning. I need 9 more. So I'm going to be personally asking you guys, please help me. Service above self. That's all about. Couple hours Saturday morning, all before football. Please come out and help us out. Sorting, pricing, it's like duty work, and it's real.
Thank you so much, Kevin. Kirk, I heard that if you do the service project, the Buckeyes are guaranteed to win. So also, my daughter will be out there with me. So if you want to talk to a kindergartner and she tell you all about what's happening in kindergarten, this is a great service project to come to. She will talk your ear off in the sweetest way possible. Moving on, we now have a fundraising update with John Cates. Every time he comes up here with an update on this fundraiser, it gets more and more exciting. So, John, I'll pass this over to you, sir.
All right, thank you, President. I think most of you guys know we've been working on the America 250 Oak City Tree Campaign. And I'm happy to announce today that we have a logo that has been created for this event. No, that's not it. That's the one I created.
It's quite far
No,
down.
That's the visual of the photo on the tree. Okay, so
It's towards the end.
obviously a little. Our presenting sponsor we have so far is North State Bank, and we're so excited to have North State Bank as presenting sponsor. Yeah. We're working on some more presenting sponsors. We feel like we can have 5. Got 1 close on a second. We're going to announce some things today, but if you guys have some ideas of some companies that you think that would be a good fit for this, and we have a list, if you don't, then we're going to get some more presenting sponsors. WRL, the Big 5, is our media sponsor. They're on board, signed, sealed, and delivered.
Yeah, that's good.
All right, we have team captains. So we're going to introduce our team captains. Everybody in this room is on a team. And I call my team captains the Captain America team because they're awesome. And they're going to do a great job. They've already gotten started. First up, he's not here today. But
Oh, he is?
Charles, come up, Charles. I didn't see you.
It's the mud.
It's okay, come on up. Charles, thank you for agreeing to be a team captain. Next up, James. Come on, come up, James. Oh, he's got a football.
There you go.
I forgot to take it when we left tobacco.
Well, we'll just consider this kicking off a campaign. And last but not least, Chuck Leedy. Chuck, come on up.
There you go, Chip.
And then the team captains for the year. And we are all in on the Coffee with Rotarians idea. These guys have got about 30 players each on their team. Every one of you will be on one of their routines. They will be communicating with you about our strategy and what can we do to sell trees and sponsorships for this campaign. So we're serious that we're gonna bust it out of the park, and we want everybody to get on board, so let's give it up for our team. Okay. Try to keep you up. And I believe next is our logo.
Yes, it's there.
There we go. We'll get a swag on the t-shirts, we'll have hats, we'll have all kinds of fun things. So, we want you guys to get excited about this, and on top of that, when you sell sponsorships, you can sponsor a tree for the city, or you can plant one on private property. For example, I'm planting on my daughter's property. They live here in Raleigh. They had a baby July 7th. So I went ahead, I gave Linda a check today for the tree. So I know the tree was planted on their property. And I purchased the decorative red, white, and blue swag bow to go on the tree. So when the 4th of July comes, everyone knows it's American. So, what can you do? Get on board, kick it off. These guys reach out to you, say yes, and be excited. We've got sponsorship forms over on the table over there. And if you want our help, we're here to help you. For example, Bob Hunter came to me and said, Johnny, Hayes Barton Place has the programs and like speakers, would you come speak about the tree campaign? So tomorrow at 3 o'clock, Chuck and John, Bob Hunter is speaking to people at Hayes Barton Place. I got a feeling we'll come back with some sponsorship trees. So use your creativity, be excited, have some fun, ask your neighbor. There's a lot of ways that we can really make a difference. This is a legacy fundraiser. It's only one time in our life that will be American. We've got, just so you know, there's the rest of the logos. We've got 3 ceremonial tree plantings. So this is really important to get you extra excited to get your setting sponsors now. Ceremonial tree planting number 1 will be in the city of Raleigh. Moore Square is the current location. Mayor will be there. All the city officials will be there. Rotary Club of Raleigh, hopefully we'll be there. It'll be a great time. The presenting speakers can speak at the ceremonial tree planting with the mayor. Number 2, just this past week, Mary Moss and I met with Oakwood Cemetery, historic Oakwood Cemetery. And they are all on board to plant a ceremonial oak tree, America 250, in the veterans section, between the older section and the newer section, for Veterans Day. I'm really excited about it. You know, we did the Veterans Day barbecue a couple of years ago. This is something, Kurt, that I hope we can get on board with, support. Hopefully we can find a way to make it part of the bigger Veterans Day celebration. I know we can't. And lastly, we're still on board to plant a ceremonial oak tree at the governor's mansion. They will get the turn. Marking it for production. That's you on? Permanent. Security. Yes.
The ceremonial.
Correct. That's correct. The rest of them will be marked on the GIS. All right, thank you very much. Let's get going. Thank you.
Bravo. Bravo.
We've got to do the wrap. And thank you guys for being so generous today. We got a big pot, and we've got a banker here. We're going to let him draw the winning number for us today. Okay. Can you read it out?
825-893.
825-8993. Do we have a winner?
Hey, Tom.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for those wonderful updates. Yeah, it's really exciting to see how this fundraiser is taking off and what we're going to be able to do this coming up year. All right, moving on. Oh. Well, thanks for that, Tom. For those on Zoom, Tom just donated some of the money he just won. Very kind. Red Bucket Happy Dollars, Leslie Oliver, well, you're getting food. Remember the red buckets on the tables for the Dimensional Lines of North Carolina? Please put any kind of spare change in that. Do we have any happy dollars for today? All right.
Okay, we got a guy. He's back. Tell us all about it.
Jeez Louise.
Okay.
Ohio State, except we did nothing against the country. But they're interesting. And also Kevin.
There's one. Anyone else? Okay, great. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Leslie. Appreciate that. All right, for birthdays and anniversaries, we want to wish a happy birthday to Randy Proctor on the 10th, a couple days from here. Dave Gospoderic on the 12th, Randy Frazier on the 12th, Parker Presnell on the 17th, and Tom Packer on the 18th. Happy birthday to you all. And then anniversaries for Pally and Sadie Rooney. Patty told me at the beginning of the meeting on the 9th of this month, 46 years. You said it was 26. I'm just kidding. 46 years. Kathy and Jim Stewart on the 10th at 42 years, and Tom and Jill Holder on the 18th with 26 years. Happy anniversary. Happy birthday to all those. And then a quick update of our upcoming meetings. So September 16th, our next meeting, we are actually having a tour at the Holy Name of Jesus Cathedral. It's going to be an off-site meeting. We will not be meeting here. An invite should be sent out to everyone in here with details. One of the big caveats is we're having the tour, and then we're having a box lunch after the tour over in over the park. What's the park name? Poland Park. Goodness gracious. Right down the street. So it's a quick, less than 5-minute drive over to the park. All those details, make sure you look at your invite for details. September 22nd, we have, make sure I say that, Rihanna Ahmadi. She is going to be talking about Empower of Afghan Women. September 29th, we've got Zach Manor, who's with Urban Forestries of the city of Raleigh. He is somebody that John Cates and I have been working directly with this tree campaign. So it'll be exciting to hear from him. And then on October 6th, I didn't see him here today, but we have our very own Paul Watson talking about being authentic online. So that should be a great presentation. And then today, I'm super excited to have Peter Gwaltney here speaking with us today. Peter has served as President and Chief Executive Officer of the North Carolina Bankers Association since January of 2015. He is a former banker and previously served as President and CEO of the Louisiana Bankers Association and Chairman, President, and CEO of the Senior Housing Crime Prevention Foundation. He serves on the Federal Delegate Board of the Independent Community Bankers of America, the Board of the North Carolina Small Business and Technology Development Center, the Dean's Advisory Council at School of Business at Louisiana State University, and has served on the American Bankers Association Board of Directors, the Board of Trustees at Mary Baldwin University, and the Dean's Advisory Council at the School of Business at Louisiana State University. He is a past chairman of the ABA Alliance of State Bankers Association, the Graduate School of Banking at LSU, and the Louisiana Governor's Prayer Breakfast. Outside of all the professional things he's done, we have got a lot of bankers in this room, and all of us have different flags that we wave of the institutions that we're at and what makes us better than the other people, whatnot. The one thing I would say that we all have in common here is that we have Peter behind us. This man, Jim, I know you can guess, this man is a huge advocate for us in the state of North Carolina, especially going up to Washington, D.C. all the time. We as Rotarians have the motto of service above self. Peter lives that out every single day with what he does for his banking partners in the state of North Carolina. So, Peter, so happy to have you here today.
Thank you. So, thank you. Harrison, thank you. That's hard to live up to. Oh my goodness. Well, it's an honor to be with you today. I am a former Rotarian. I say former because in Louisiana, as a young banker, I was inducted into the Baton Rouge Rotary Club, and then I moved, and I've not gotten back involved since. I've been traveling so much. So it's always good to be in a room full of Rotarians, and I love what you do. I appreciate what you do, and I identify with the service that you provide for our community. I'm a former banker. I aspired to be a banker. It's a noble profession and one I wanted to participate in. And so I had the pleasure of being a young banker. In fact, the CEO of the bank where I joined right out of LSU, go Tigers, my CEO was the one who introduced me to the club. And that was a real joy, a real honor to me that day. I'm going to share some things with you today, and I want to start with our vision statement at the North Carolina Bankers Association. Our vision statement is strong banks, strong communities. We believe that if everything we do is focused on building strong banks, we'll have strong communities, and then we'll all be better off for it. So that keeps us focused every day. I want to talk to you about some things today, and I figure I'd give you a glimpse of where we're headed so you can kind of know what's coming. And I'm going to try to go as quickly as I can. There's some slides I might breeze through or even pass by because I do want to hear from you. I'd love to take some questions from you. I want to talk about the state of banking in North Carolina. I do want to talk about developments and trends that are taking place in our industry, and that affects us all, whether you're a consumer or a business owner. I want to talk about people and politics. The phrase was coined in the Reagan administration, personnel is policy. It's very important. The people who are playing certain roles in our government, they affect our industry and they affect all of us as an extension. So I want to talk about some of those people. I will qualify all of this with, I am a registered lobbyist and this is what I do for a living, but I'm fiercely nonpartisan. We at the NCBA are fiercely nonpartisan. We don't care what party anyone is in. We represent a special interest, banking, and that's what that we care most about. And so we have to work across party lines. So I'm going to talk about people and I'm going to talk about parties today. Never interpret anything I say to be disparaging or negative. It's just calling balls and strikes throughout the day. And so please call me on that if you need to. I'm going to talk about some hazards like your GPS, whether you use Google Maps or Waze, it'll tell you there's a hazard in the road ahead. I'm going to talk about some of the hazards that are on the road ahead that we need to watch out for, specifically mail fraud and check fraud and mail theft. I've got some handouts on the table that I'll talk about. And then I'll give you a bit of an economic forecast from our perspective. So here we go. The industry in North Carolina, banking here, is a major industry here. Charlotte specifically in North Carolina as an extension is the second largest banking hub in the nation. And we're very proud of that, right behind New York. We have 86 banks doing business in the state. Some of the very largest global banks, even like Bank of America, headquartered in Charlotte, headquartered here in North Carolina. And then some of the very smallest banks here. Anybody familiar with Hertford? Smallest bank in the state is Hertford Savings Bank, 3 employees, 16 million in assets. I don't know how they do it. I check in on them annually just to check on. I'll be there next week. But it's a very diverse industry and very diverse field of membership serving businesses of all kinds, whether publicly traded firms, private firms, households, individuals, students, on down. There are 39 of those banks are headquartered here in North Carolina. And we have 2 mergers pending, so we'll have 37 very shortly. You might have read about the acquisition of Dogwood State Bank last couple of weeks. And then also New Republic Bank in Charlotte was recently announced that they're being acquired by a bank in Georgia. And so it might be interesting to know that of the 50 or so banks headquartered in Charlotte, only one is locally owned as a community bank, and that was New Republic, and that will soon be gone. That's okay. They'll have the assets and the resources of the Georgia bank that has bought them, and they'll move on. They'll still be there. We have 41 billion in new home loans originated last year, nearly 10 billion in small business loans, and 1.3 billion in small farm loans that were originated. And this doesn't take into account all of the other activities and work that banks of all sizes do. So that has a tremendous economic impact on our state. It's a $31 billion annual impact to our state. We have 100,000 bank employees distributed across the state. And then all the economic activity that banks do through their deposit, investing, and lending creates an additional 178,000 jobs across the state. And that creates $10 billion in additional labor income that spreads out through our economy and creates even more jobs. The big number we're proud of and focus on is a $941 impact in terms of state and local taxes paid in North Carolina, $941 million. That's really important. So let's talk about some of the developments and the trends that you're reading about in the news and that you observe yourself. Mergers. Did you know that there have been more than 100 M&A deals announced just in banking this year, this calendar year alone? And there were 3 announced last week, just in the latter part of last week. And so there will be more. And we'll talk about the dynamics behind that in just a moment. Competition. Banks are moving into North Carolina. They're buying banks, as we've just talked about, but they're also moving in here. We call it de novo branching. They're coming into the state, whether they're from another state far away or Virginia, South Carolina, Tennessee. They want to participate in our economy. How do we rank as an economy nationwide? We're the #1 state for business. Banks want to be where the growth is. They want to be where the economic activity is. And so they're coming here. And where they can't find a bank to buy, they're pulling out teams out of existing banks and building branches. And we're seeing that all across the state. Regulatory recalibration is another major impact of the recent presidential election. So anytime there's an election, we're going to have wholesale change in our regulatory bodies, the Federal Reserve, the FDIC, the Office of the Comptroller of the Currency, and the CFPB, SEC, and I could just go on down the line. Banking interacts with a lot of federal agencies. And so we've had a lot of change at the tops of the agencies, and we'll be talking about those people. Along with President Trump's philosophy on business and the people that he has appointed, personnel as policy, there's a major recalibration of regulation and bank supervision going on right now. Over the past 4 to 8 years, I've been in banking 37 years, and I've never seen a tsunami of regulation like we had. New regulations being introduced over the past 4 to 8 years. They were coming at a pace we had never seen, and they were large proposals. They were expensive, and they were not necessarily always thought out from a cost-benefit analysis perspective. And so what's happening right now is the new proposals that came out of the Biden administration are being withdrawn and rethought, or they're being withdrawn and canceled altogether. And then there are some longstanding regulations that are being withdrawn and revisited. And we welcome that. We want to give input. We're not looking for deregulation. We just want tailored regulation. We believe that regulation of a bank should reflect the size, the scope, and the complexity of the organization. One size does not fit all. And we had, like the little bank in Hertford, was just being crushed by some of the regulations that were coming down from Washington. And so we're very pleased that all of that is being revisited. And again, I'll talk about some of that in a little more detail in just a minute. Strong bank performance. after the tremendous increase of interest rates back in 2023, you all remember that. It affected depositors and lenders. It really affected banks. And it was a bit of a gut punch to the economy because banks some had to pull back on lending. Borrowers, business went to the sideline just to say, I'll just wait until rates come back down because they should come back down. You'll recall from 2007 until after the pandemic, we were at a very low interest rate environment like we've never seen before. And those rates were sustained for a very long time. And then the Federal Reserve, seeing the need to slow the economy down after the pandemic, increased rates 5%. The Fed funds rate went up 500 basis points, which we haven't seen an increase like that historically ever. And it really created a disruption. So banks have recovered in large part to that dynamic. Also, asset quality, which is the loan portfolios, are as healthy and as strong as they've ever been. Liquidity is strong, and liquidity is important. Those are your deposits sitting in the bank so the banks can lend that money back out into the community or to businesses or to homeowners. Liquidity is high, and that's really important. Harrison, our friend Larry Barber, would say it's not asset quality or loans that bring down a bank in terms of a failure, it's liquidity. And that's what we saw with Signature Valley Bank, Silicon Valley Bank and Signature Bank, and those banks that failed in 2023, those were liquidity crises. And so all those metrics that we watch so closely are all healthy, very healthy. So what does that mean? That means bankers, when I get them in a room together, there's optimism again. They're wanting to invest and grow and build branches and expand, hire teams. And so everyone's looking to hire, everyone's looking to where do they want to build the next office or acquiring a bank in a growth market across another part of the state. So it's a really exciting time. I want to talk a little bit about people. I'm going to fly through this. Senator Tillis, well, as an advocacy group, we can only focus on so many committees and members of Congress. And so at the NCBA, we only focus on the members of the North Carolina congressional delegation up in Washington. Of course, all 120 members of the General Assembly get our attention. But in Congress, we're watching very closely just our 16 members of our delegation. But even more closely, we follow the ones who are on what we call relevant committees. Senator Tillis is on the Senate Banking Committee. He's very important to us. We're very disappointed to see that he's not running for re-election. He has been a thoughtful member of the Senate Banking Committee. He's worked across the aisle with the ranking member of the committees, Elizabeth Warren, on some legislation. He's worked very closely with Tim Scott, the chairman. A lot of respect for Senator Tillis on the Senate Banking Committee. We're sorry to see him go. On the House Financial Services Committee, we're very fortunate to have former Speaker Tim Moore serving on House Financial Services. He understands our industry. He meets with us. He listens to us. He has sponsored legislation and co-sponsored legislation that's part of that recalibration that I talked about earlier. He's really doing an amazing job, and we're very fortunate to have him where he is. I'll mention that French Hill, the chairman of the committee, is from Arkansas. He's a former community bank CEO. So he's raised capital to start a bank. He understands what we do. He understands the impact banks have on communities. And when we have meetings with him, it's an easy conversation. It's very productive, and we're in a really good place with him. I want to talk about the banking agencies just for a minute, back to personnel as policy. The top four pictures are the heads of the agencies that oversee the banking industry: the Comptroller of the Currency, the Federal Reserve, the FDIC, and the CFPB. Start on the far end with Jonathan Gould. He's the Comptroller of the Currency. That's the supervisor of national banks. And national bank doesn't mean large bank. That just means they're chartered through the Office of the Comptroller of the Currency, which is a division of the Treasury. And so Jonathan Gould is a former general counsel at the OCC. He's now the Comptroller, good friend of the industry and a wonderful person, easy to meet with and very thoughtful. Next is Michelle Bowman. If you were to meet Michelle Bowman with the Federal Reserve, she's on the Board of Governors, and we'll talk about her a little bit more in just a minute. First time you meet her, she'll shake your hand and say, "Please call me Mickey." She wants to be everyone's friend. When I first met her, we brought her to Raleigh for a small meeting with bankers. And the night before, my wife and I took her to Angus Barn. It was in December. It was magical. We'll be friends for life as a result of that. And she is a former banker. Her family started the bank that she worked in back in the mid-1800s in Kansas. So she grew up in banking. She was the state regulator for the banks in Kansas. She then went to work for the Senate Banking Committee and then was named to the Federal Reserve Board of Governors, and now she is the supervisor of all the banks that are members of the Federal Reserve. Travis Hill is the acting chairman of the FDIC. Long history in banking, very thoughtful man. And then I really wanted to spend a little bit of time on Scott Bessent. Scott Bessent is the Secretary of the Treasury. Like many within the Trump administration, he is wearing multiple hats. He is also the director of the CFPB. And the industry has been watching this one very closely. We're not advocating for the CFPB to go away. We're just asking for a recalibration of their supervision and rulemaking authority and accountability for some of the things that they do. And so Secretary Bessent has put himself at the top of the agency to personally oversee the reorganization and recalibration of the agency. Secretary Bessent has been involved in global finance for many years, for decades. He's brilliant. If you have an opportunity to look him up on YouTube or listen to him on CNBC or any of the business shows, he's very thoughtful, very smart, and we're very pleased to have the opportunity to work with him. He's also a South Carolinian, so he speaks y'all. You know, he understands us. Next is the Federal Reserve Board, and this is an interesting time. You're all watching the news, so you hear about what's going on with the Federal Reserve Board. I have under their names their terms because they have specific terms. Anybody know the length of the term of a Federal Reserve Board of Governors? 14. Yeah, 14 years. So the last time I spoke to y'all, if I talked about the Federal Reserve, I said they don't have to care what the president thinks or what the president says on the news because they have these terms. They're bulletproof. That was the truth until Lisa Cook. And Lisa Cook is here on the board. I know Lisa Cook. I've had numerous meetings with her. I had breakfast with her here in Raleigh just not long ago. She is a very thoughtful person. Consider her a friend, but it appears that she's done some things that are being questioned, and the president is testing whether he has cause to fire her from the Federal Reserve Board of Governors. It's never been tested before, and we're all going to find out together whether the president has this authority. The Supreme Court will rule on that, and we'll see where that goes. Stephen Mirren, the nominee on the far right, he is the head of the White House Council of Economic Advisors. Very smart. He's been widely published. No question about where he stands on financial policy, monetary policy, and would be an excellent member of the Board of Governors. The reason he's been nominated is because he's filling the unexpired term of Adriana Kugler, who just recently resigned, but her term was going to be up next January anyway. So if Mirren is appointed and confirmed by the Senate, Senator Tillis will be involved in those confirmation hearings. He'll just serve a 2 or 3 month term, and then it'll be up to the president to decide whether to appoint him to a full term. We will see. So we're watching this on the news just like you are. It's just what's a little different is we know the people, we know the players, and it has a deep impact on what happens in banking and within the economy. So one of the things, the hazards that are in front of us, I'm just going to breeze through this because I gave you handouts. They're on your table about check fraud, and also I'll talk about mail theft. On check fraud, $24 billion in total losses last year to check fraud. Y'all, like I have heard in the news, going back decades, we were looking forward to the cashless society, checks would go away. Well, no. All of a sudden, over the past couple of years, check fraud has raised its head as a big issue and a major problem for banks and for customers and small businesses. Financial institutions lost $1.3 billion last year to check fraud, just old-fashioned check fraud. So there are ways you can protect yourself, and I'm a member of the ABA, American Bankers Association Foundation Board, And we work on consumer education, financial literacy, things like that. And we have lots of resources available. And so I put the handouts on your desk, on your tables, just to talk about how to protect yourself. One small thing you can do is if you write a check, use a gel pen. Can't be washed, can't be cleared off by acid, just a small thing. Also, with mail theft, moving on to the next one. This is a major contributor to check fraud. 44% of stolen checks have been altered and then deposited. This happens, if this was just a room full of bankers and we closed the doors just to talk, there would be a big conversation about check fraud. Everybody would be comparing numbers. In some banks, I've had meetings with banks recently where they've had more in check fraud losses and debit card losses than they have loan losses. It's that big of an issue. You can protect yourself. I only use the mail for greeting cards and thank you notes. I don't mail checks. I deliver checks, or contractors who do work at my house, they pick the check up at their house, at my house. I don't mail checks. Just be thought, your banks, all the ones who are here and then others, offer ways to do electronic payments. And I encourage you to take advantage of that. Protect yourself and protect your bank. And then what's next? More bank consolidation. There will be more. More competition. Banks are coming here because of our strong economy and thriving economy. Artificial intelligence, you're going to be hearing more and more about it. If you're not using it, I encourage you to play around with it. You can use ChatGPT, Claude AI, Grok. There's so many. I use AI every day, and it's bringing efficiency to our organization and to my work. In banking, we're going to see it bring efficiency and increase security and safety in some of the functions that banks do. Cybersecurity. With advances in AI and technology and bandwidth, all these things, what that does is it accelerates the speed of fraud and the threat vectors and multiplies how many ways bad actors can get into the bank. So banks are spending a lot of time shoring up and protecting themselves so that they can protect you. So watch for more of that. And then digital assets. You're all hearing about cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, stable coins, central bank digital currency. All these things are in the news. Stable coins, the first law just passed through Congress, signed by the president, enabling stable coins to be issued. And so you're going to be hearing more and more about stable coins as a form of payment. There's still some legislation that needs to be passed to put the market structure in place, and we'll be involved in that, but that's coming. So watch for that. Quick on the economy, and then I'll wrap up. Inflation is down. One of the things I want you to watch for is we all talk about the CPI. When we get together, you hear about the reports of CPI. The Fed watches the PCE, the personal consumption expenditures number. That's the one that they really watch. So when they say their target is 2%, they're watching the PCE, not the CPI. So we're at 2.9% today. It is down significantly, but it still has some distance to go. The Fed funds target rate is at 4.25 to 4.5 today. It operates within that range. That's the interest rate that banks charge one another for liquidity reasons. It's down from its peak back in 2023. It's really up from the floor that we were on from 2007 on. Just from a historical context, the summer before my senior year of high school, it was 19.8%. The Fed funds rate was 19.8%. We're at 4.25 today. The average was 4.6 over time since the 50s. So we're actually below average. The problem is all of our businesses and all of our personal lives are calibrated around these really historically low rates. So that's hard for us to adjust to. The unemployment rate ticked up just a little bit last Friday with the jobs report that was a little weaker than we were expecting. The 30-year fixed rate mortgage is steadily going down. We're at 6.5 last Friday. And GDP is doing really well. We're at 3.3%, and the Atlanta Fed is projecting that the third quarter will be 3%. So that's a healthy number. So what does that tell us about the Fed, the Federal Open Market Committee? When they meet next week, what are they going to do? That's the big question. We're predicting that they'll reduce rates a quarter of a point. There are many that want them to reduce by a half a point. I think that's just a bridge too far. They have 2 more meetings in the year. They have a meeting in October and then one in December. And that gives them time to do more. But it's hard to claw something back once it's out, so that you'll watch them be very cautious and methodical about what they're doing. So that is our outlook. I'm so grateful to you, again, for all that you do, for your attention today. It's always fun to speak to groups about banking because I'm so very proud of the industry that I represent. I do have no time for questions, I believe. And
Got a couple minutes, if 1 or 2
okay,
questions. if
1
there
or
are any?
2 questions? Anybody? Yes. Yes. Wow.
The only resolution I got was but otherwise the bank had no. So if they go away, what next is there against banks that don't want to do?
That's a great question for our friends on Zoom. The question is, where does a customer go when they've been defrauded or stolen from if the CFPB is going away? It's not going to go away. It's going to be reorganized and recalibrated. They were doing a lot of things that were we believe were outside their statutory authority, so that basic consumer protection function will remain. And even if it didn't, it would go back to the prudential regulators, the FDIC, the OCC, and the Fed. That's the way things were before the financial crisis, before the passage of Dodd-Frank. So it would still be heavily regulated and in the hands of a regulator, maybe just not the CFPB. But thank you. Yes. Yes, correct. Yes. 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 Yes.
What's the state of the mail?
I would go inside the post office. I live in Wake Forest. I go to the Wake Forest post office and I would put it inside in the box. That's one. If it's a large enough check or important enough to you, I would send it FedEx or UPS, slow boat, cheapest way possible. But that way it's tracked. Yeah, great question. Yeah. Yes. There are discussions. That's as much as I can tell you. I will tell one last story. The optimism in banking is so strong that I talked to a banker the other day that he said if he sold his bank and had it to do all over again, in this environment, he would start another bank. And that's saying something, because for the last 15, 20 years, that's not been the case. So.
Last question.
Yeah,
Yep.
last question. Mm-hmm.
Is there some real exposure out there that has not been realized? Writing down commercial real estate assets, is that a danger? Any of them, like North Carolina?
No. And the reason I thought about it is because there are many facets to the answer. There's commercial real estate, and within there are lots of different types of commercial real estate. Office is the area that got the most exposure or interest in the media, and North Carolina banks just didn't have that much exposure to office. They had some, but just not a lot. Commercial real estate is what banks do, and it's their expertise. And there's asset quality everywhere we look, and there are metrics we can measure. So these aren't anecdotal stories, but asset quality is really high. And we just don't have, concerns about commercial real estate today. So it's a great question. I read the press and I see how they write, and it gives me great concern because I know they're causing concern where it might not be warranted. So there you go. Harrison, thank you so very much. Thank you all.
Peter, thank you so much for all you do for us. One of the things that we want to give as a party gift, you probably received one of these already, but I think it might be good for you to have another one. The Rotary Cup, when you're in DC, if you want to, when you meet with your constituents, have the four-way test pointing out, that might be a good reminder for us. Wonderful. All right, fellow Rotarians, if you will stand with me, today I'm going to ask Randy Mounts if he will please lead us out on the four-way test. Randy. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be official to all concerned? You are dismissed.